you guys, I'm so excited. Today we're gonna review the Creality Falcon 260-watt laser. Yes, you heard right, 60-watt diode laser from Creality. Now I have reviewed their Falcon 20 watts, I believe, laser, and their Falcon Pro to 40 watts, and now we have the 60 watt. So really quick, I do not want to take too much of your time. Let's go take a look around the machine. I will show you the machine, and then I will show you some samples, and we'll see how it cuts, how it engraves. We'll talk about it. Who is this machine for? So without any further ado, let's get started. The first thing I want to talk to you about is safety. And let me bring you in closer. Now, as you can see, the machine has this beautiful plexiglass, the red one, and it will allow you to see your laser going from anywhere in the shop. So it doesn't matter what side of the shop you are, you can keep an eye on your laser and make sure everything is going well. And this machine is Class 1 certified. Now, this is very important to know. It's Class 1 certified. What does that mean? That means when the machine is running, you actually do not need to wear safety goggles. And you might think that people would know to wear safety goggles when they work with open frame lasers, but I've seen plenty of YouTube videos where people are not protecting themselves. So having a safe machine is not only safe for you, but also for your family and loved ones. I cannot tell you how many times I'm working on a laser and I'm wearing my protective goggles, yet my kids will come to look for me to ask a question, open the door, and now they are exposed to this harmful light that could really burn and damage their eyes. So because this is Class 1 certified, now your family is safe if they walk through the shop, if your pets walk through your shop, and if for you, then you are protected and you are not going to hurt yourself. Now this is a serious machine. This is not a toy. This is 60 watts laser. And even though you do not have to wear goggles and it's Class 1 certified, they do send you a pair of safety goggles, and I recommend you use it. It's never bad to be extra cautious than not be cautious enough. When I run my laser, I always wear my safety goggles, even though it's Class 1 certified and I don't have to. Now, talking about safety again, we do have the emergency stop button. In case of, starting a fire or something, you can easily press it down and that will stop the machine. And then to start it again, you have to push down and twist and that will unlock it. Also, the machine comes with some keys, and these are important if you're, let's say, going to work or you're traveling and your kids are staying home with a nanny or something and they go in your shop and they see shiny buttons and they like to push things. Or if you take the keys away from here, the machine will not run without it, so then you're sure that nobody's going to mess up with your tools and nobody is going to get hurt. So you have keys, you have emergency stop buttons, all very, very good safety precautions. Now the door slides like this, gives you access to the inside of the machine. As you can see, very smooth. And they design it this way versus just a lid that opens up. That way the machine can go, if you put it on a counter under a shelf or some cabinet or something, then you do not need all that extra room on the top, so it fits in smaller places. Really, really nice design with that. Now on the front here, you have your standard homing, framing, play button, pause button, and all that stuff. I've never used this because I like to control my machine from the computer. The machine does come with air assist. It is your typical fish tank assist, but it does work really well. And then you have the exhaust fan that it's over here in the back of the machine. And when you assemble the machine, you have the choice of putting your exhaust on the left or the right side, whichever way works best for you. I put mine on the left. It doesn't matter for me as I will be giving this laser away, so I'm not going to keep it. So we have the air assist and we have the fan. Now you have the fan toggle over here that you can turn it on and off. It's just a switch. And then on the other side, you have a light toggle. You can turn on and off the light on the machine. The light is over here in the front on the inside part of this bar. The machine does have a camera. It's on the top over here on the inside of the machine on this bar that goes right in the center of the machine. It's hard for me to show you, but it is right there. So you do have a camera, makes framing really, really easy. The laser module, it is pretty big, as it is 60 watts, as you could assume. And I will show you more about that in a second. Let's look on this other side. Now, it is hard for me to show you here because I don't have enough room to put my tripod, but I'll insert a picture onto the screen. Right here on the right side, this is where you have your port that you plug in your power and your computer. And then it does have a camera plug over here, USB-C, and you connect this to your computer as well. Now, on top of your laser module, you would have this black button over here, and this cycles through these three settings. This will give you the precise, the normal, and the powerful. When it's in precise, the laser turns into a 22-watt laser, so it has a smaller laser beam, and that will allow you to engrave more fine detailed things. And then you have normal, that will change your power on your machine to 40 watt, and then powerful, it will keep it at 60 watt. Let me just take the laser module out so I can show you a little bit better. So you can see this is the buttons over here. And then of course you have the alarms in the front for air, fire, and lens. So that means when your lens gets dirty, this will turn red. If it's green, that means the lens is clean and you're ready to go. The same thing for the fire. If it detects fire, this will turn red, alarms will go off, and the machine will stop. And this is for your air assist. If the air assist it's not turned on, or it's clogged or something, this will turn red. You have these two knobs. This is how you attach your laser module. Now inside the bed you have this slots, so you do not have a honeycomb grid, and these are tapered, so they're very pointy, so that way you don't get a lot of charring in the back of your piece of work. And you can arrange these guys however you want, how close or how far apart you want them. Really easy to put on and take out to clean. It's really easy to clean, so much easier than cleaning those honeycomb grids. Now, to clean all those pieces that fall off in there, also really easy. It has a tray. So as you can see, all these tiny pieces, I can take the tray completely out, dump it in the garbage, put it back on, and I'm ready to go for the next job. I forgot to tell you there's a dial over here on the side, and that is for the air assist. You turn it all the way up, it's at max air assist, and you turn it down all the way down. That is off, and you can go anywhere in between. Now, that's pretty much what the machine looks like. It's pretty much identical to the 40-watt version, nothing new other than the very powerful laser. Also, just like the 40-watt laser from Creality, it is not the best at engraving high detailed images. This laser, if you're getting it mostly for engraving, is probably not the laser for you. This is 60-watt power laser. It's very powerful. It's meant to use for a lot of cutting and making pockets for inlays and so on. I will show you some things in a second. And Creality knows that, so because of that, they are including for free a 1.6 laser module. So this is very low power laser, but very, very fine laser point. So that means if you wanted to do a really, really accurate fine detail engraving, then you will install this laser module and you can do it. If you try to do it with a 60 watt, well, you're not going to get that much detail. It's kind of like trying to draw fine hair details with a Sharpie. It's not going to be the same as if you're using a mechanical pencil, let's say. So they do include this, so you could do really detail engraving if that's what you're looking for. Now in the package, they send you a few sample materials so you can test your engraving on. And then there's this white paper here with dots. That is for calibrating your camera. And to do that is very easy. You just follow the prompts on the screen and it only takes a few minutes. So when I first got the machine, my first test was just to kind of see how it engraves. Like I said, this is not a machine that you would use much for engraving, but you know, once in a while you want to put your logo on it, you want to do some engraving, and it has to be capable of engraving, right? It's an engraving machine. So I did my first test, and for this one I used settings. I have them written down here. I used settings of 400 speed, and I only put the power at 10% because it's such a powerful laser. You do not need a lot of power, so I used the 10%, and I did this engraving right over here, and it did really well. The W is missing a little bit of stuff there, but it could be my plywood. It's very humid and hot in my shop, so it's kind of not very flat. So that could be the laser was not, you know, focused very well on that piece of material. But anyway, it was not really my type of engraving. 10% was maybe a little bit too low, so then I increased the power to 20%. And I kept the speed at 400, and then we got this result. So as you can see, very doable engraving. This is with the 60 watts. I did not go into the 20 watt mode or the 40 watt or the 1.6. I just used it straight at 60 watt. And you see some charring in there, but that you can easily sand it, or you can even take some mineral spirits. Let's see if I do this now. And you can pretty much wipe off that charring. Let's see what we get. So you see that I removed some of that, but you can pretty much remove it all. And that was the engraving test I did. Now, like I said, this laser, it's, you know, if you're getting it, it's probably because you want to do a lot of cutting. So I was focused more onto testing the cutting material. So my first piece of testing was a piece of walnut that I had here. This is a 1/4 inch. I work a lot with walnut, and I use the 20 speed, 100 power, and it didn't cut all the way through. You can see there, it cut almost all the way through. I don't know if you can focus. It went almost all the way, but not completely. So that was at speed 20, power 100. So then I reduced the speed to 15, still kept the power of 100, and with one pass, then we got a very nice clean cut, no charring. So that was the setting for that one. Then I had a piece of mahogany here, and hold on a second. Let's talk a little bit about focusing the machine. They still use the old-fashioned focusing 3 steps thing. And if you've never used one of this, you lower the laser module until it hits one of these steps. If you're doing engraving or cutting very thin material, you want to focus on this step. If you cut material that is 4 to 6 millimeter, then you want to go to this step, and anything over 6 millimeter, you go on the bottom step. So as the thicker the material you are, the lower you focus the laser. So I have this piece of mahogany. I'm not sure what thickness it is. Let me see if I find. So this piece of mahogany, it's about 5/8. And because it's 5/8 of an inch, I should have focused all the way on the bottom step because it's definitely more than 6 millimeters. Now, I did not do that. I focused, just like for engraving on top of the wood, to test on this piece of mahogany, and this is why I did that. Oftentimes, you'll find yourself where you need to engrave a piece. Let's say you engrave a portrait, and then you want to cut it out. You want to cut the outline. So in that case, you cannot refocus with this. So you're doing engraving focused on the top, and then in order to cut, if it's a thicker material, you would have to refocus. When you put this under your laser and lower the laser, you pretty much have a chance of moving that piece of wood around, and then when you're cutting, it doesn't look very accurate because it shifted a little bit as you were refocusing. So I wanted to do a cut test where I focused on the top, just like for engraving, in a real case scenario where you have engraving and you have to cut immediately after. So I was focusing wrong on purpose, just to make that clear. So here is what I did. The first time I tried this, so the first cut I did, I was going with speed 15 at 100 power. And this is this cut over here. And you can see it didn't go that deep. Then I reduced the speed to 10, and I got this cut over here. It went definitely deeper, but not all the way through. This is just the one pass. Then I reduced the speed to 5, and it went almost all the way through. You can see I can snap it probably, but it didn't cut all the way through. And this is all with one pass. So I could not cut through it with one pass if I focus on the very top, which is the wrong way to focus. So let's make that clear. So then I decided, why if I try 2 passes? So I went to speed 5 with 2 passes, and it cut it with no problem. So even I was focused on the top, with 2 passes, I was able to cut more than a ½ inch of mahogany. So I pretty much knew it could cut that. I didn't have any kind of concerns about that. So then I went and found a piece of poplar. And this piece of poplar is 3/4 inch thick. Poplar is fairly hard wood, and 3/4 inch thick, that is pretty much the thickest I will ever cut with any laser machine. So for this one, I did speed 5, 100% power, and I went 3 passes. And that gave me this cut. Now this way, for this cut, I was focusing again on the very top of the material. So it took 3 passes to cut this. And as you can see, the cut, it's okay, but it has a little bit of charring. It's not as clean as I would have liked. So then I focused properly on the bottom step of the focusing steps. And with the machine focused properly, I went with 1 pass only for 3/4 inch poplar, 1 pass only, and I went speed 2, so very, very slow. And I was watching the machine, make sure I don't start the fire. So I went speed 2, power 100 to just 1 pass. And so it was going very, very slow, but it gave me a really, really clean cut, no charring at all. As you can see, the cut is fantastic. And I was very, very happy with that. Cutting 3/4 inch material with 1 pass, that really opens the gate to many possibilities of making jigs and templates and so on. So I was super, super pleased with the cut. So then I thought I would do another test, and what I did here, just did a dip and engrave. I am planning on making these cheese boards for some arts crafts fairs that is coming up, and I found a design that I wanted to use, so I did a dip engraving of that, and it did fantastic. It is fairly deep. This is about 1/8 inch deep. So for this one I use speed 300 at 70 power. Another piece of mahogany, that's the engraving it gave me. And then from hard maple I cut the piece that would come and be inlaying there. So the cut for the maple piece, really, really clean. Very happy with the way it cut. And I'm not sure when I will do the cheese plates. I might do inlays, or I might just fill it with epoxy just to give it some color and interest. And I think I can be more creative with epoxy. So I think I'm gonna go with that for that. Now I want to show you a couple of projects that I actually made with this laser while I was trying it out. One of them is I've started making a lot of these cheese slicers. I sell them on my website, and also I take them with me to, craft shows. And as you can see, this is an engraving I did with the laser. I did a dip engraving. The settings for this was 80 power, 100 speed. And then I filled this engraving with epoxy. And now we have a beautiful inlay, epoxy inlay, and just makes this cheese slicer so much more unique than if it was just plain. If you've never seen a cheese slicer, you put your brick of cheese over here, and then it has this wire, and that's how you're slicing the cheese. So again, this is the engraving, and I just used the 60-watt power. I did not change to any other mode, as I would only use it in full power if it was my laser to keep. So that's one project. And then of course I had to make a box. If you guys been following me for a while, I do make a lot of boxes. So here is a box that I made with mahogany, walnut, curly maple. And then this is the 3D effect lid. So this is what it's looking like close up. Every joint is very tight, very nice. And I cut all these diamond shapes and then I glued them on a piece of walnut, on a 1/8 inch walnut. And that's what it became, the lid. And to make those, you know, geometrical patterns there, I just cut a whole bunch of diamond shapes. They look like this, just diamond shapes. I have a whole bunch of leftover. That's the maple and mahogany. I do not have any walnut left over, but this is what they look like. And then you put 3 of them together and it makes a cube. So this is the kind of work that I do when I use a laser. I don't make those, you know, laser cut little boxes out of 1/8 inch material. I like to use it for inlays, and I like to use it for cutting intricate little pieces that will make a nice pattern. And I hope you enjoyed this and gives you some idea on what you can use your laser for. So then I looked on the website to see what is this laser retailing for. I didn't pay money for it. It was sent to me for review. And it looks like right now it's selling for around $2,600. And I think for a 60-watt laser, you're getting a lot for the money. I think it is totally worth it. It's a solid, good, reliable laser, and I cannot recommend it enough. Now, if you do decide to purchase this laser, please consider using my affiliate links from the description below. To no extra cost to you, I will get a small commission, so I thank you in advance for that. I hope this was helpful to you and you learned something new. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Skylar Ewing, and I'll see you in my next video.